Okay, class, good morning. Today we have your tests only. So make sure that you access the speed building before. These are just your tests. You have on your 160 number 1, Dr. Richards, Chronic Pain Associates, Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Cartwright, Pollock, Dr. Bell, Doctors Hospital, Bruce Summer, and Sheridan. And this is going to start in the middle, and this is going to be your 160 Q&A number 1 for 5 minutes, you all. How long did Dr. Richards treat you?
He examined me and treated me that day.
What did he do for you?
Just more or less took x-rays, confirmed with the hospital.
All right. Give you any medication?
No.
Give you any cervical collar?
Yes.
Did you go back to him?
No.
Why not?
No particular reason.
Well, when was the next time that you sought medical care?
Well, I went to pain control.
How long after the accident?
The following day.
In other words, second day after the accident.
Yes.
How did you happen to go to pain control?
Well, they used the heat treatment.
Are you talking about Chronic Pain Associates?
Yes.
Who referred you there?
Dr. Richards may have, but I'm not sure.
What did Chronic Pain Associates do for you?
They used the heat pads.
About how long did they treat you?
I stayed there for a month or so.
Who was the next doctor that treated you?
I don't know offhand.
The cervical collar, you actually got that from the emergency room, didn't you, rather than from Richards?
I could have. I don't remember.
I was looking at the bill here and it showed it.
Okay.
Did you have any teeth knocked loose?
Yes, but they come back together.
Okay. Did you go to Dr. Jenkins, a dentist, for that?
Dr. Jenkins.
And what did he do for you other than examine you and x-ray you?
He examined and x-rayed it.
And he told you that you needed to wait and see?
Yes.
Did that problem with the teeth resolve after a month or so?
Yes.
Did you go to Dr. Cartwright for something?
Yes, I've been to Dr. Cartwright.
What did Dr. Cartwright do for you?
Minor operation, didn't pertain to this, I don't believe.
What was it on?
To my knowledge, it's a polyp. Removed a polyp.
Any other doctors other than Dr. Cartwright?
I went to Dr. Bell for a while.
Did Dr. Bell treat you for anything related to this accident?
He's a chiropractor.
Did Dr. Cartwright treat you for anything relative to this accident?
I don't believe so.
You said he removed a polyp. Where from?
I don't know. I was passed out. I imagine right up my rear, but I'm not a doctor.
What kind of problems have you been having that led you to go to Dr. Cartwright?
I was passing blood.
Anybody other than Dr. Cartwright treat you since this accident for things that aren't related to this accident or may not be related to the accident in your opinion?
No.
Where did Dr. Cartwright perform that surgery?
At Doctor's Hospital.
Had you ever been at Doctor's Hospital before?
No, sir. And it could have been related to the accident. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
When did you start seeing Dr. Bell?
About a month after the accident.
Who referred you to Dr. Bell?
I went on my own.
How did you find Dr. Bell rather than somebody else?
Well, he's a chiropractor.
How did you happen to pick him rather than any of the other chiropractors?
Reputation.
Who told you about him?
I inquired about chiropractors. I just called around.
Who did you call around to?
I don't know that much about chiropractors.
Who did you call around to?
Well, actually, Bruce Summer was the masseur out at the health spa, and he mentioned him. Bruce has been a friend of mine for 20 years.
All right, he's a masseur?
He's a masseur.
Where's Dr. Bell located?
He's on 15th and Sheridan, roughly.
And how long did he treat you?
About a month, 6 weeks, maybe 2 months.
Other than Dr. Richards, the people at the emergency room, Dr. Jenkins and Dr. Bell, did anybody else treat you for anything related to this accident?
Not that I remember.
When is the last time that you received treatment from anybody for anything relative to this accident?
Probably 6 months.
Did the heat treatment that you got at Chronic Pain Associates help?
Somewhat.
At the time you stopped going to them, what were your symptoms or complaints?
Having headaches and waking up with headaches and a stiff neck at night.
Other than having headaches and a stiff neck, did you have any complaints with any other part of your body at the time you stopped going to Chronic Pain Associates approximately a month or so after the accident?
No.
Did Dr. Bell's treatment help?
Somewhat.
All right. Now, at the time you started going to him, that would have been shortly after you stopped going to Chronic Pain Associates.
Yes.
After you stopped going to him, what were your symptoms or complaints?
Same thing. It helps for a while, but then you wake up the...
Okay. And we have your second 160 test. Mr. Wynn's, different material. People's number 3 and People's 1. And this is going to be your 160 Q&A number 2 for 5 minutes, and it starts in the middle. Good morning, Deputy.
Good morning, sir.
Now, when you initially responded to Mr. Wynn's evidence, you indicated that when you entered, you smelled a strong odor of marijuana, correct?
When I initially was there, no, I did not smell an odor of marijuana.
My question was, when you entered the residence, you smelled it.
Oh, that's correct.
Okay, I believe you indicated that when you looked over to the table that is marked in People's number 3, you noticed the items of evidence that we've already gone over, right?
Correct.
So you didn't have to go very far into the location to see all these things.
Not very far at all.
Okay. You saw the individually wrapped baggies, the bowl, and then you found a scale. Did you form an opinion right away based on your training and experience that the marijuana was possessed for purposes of sale? Is that a fair statement?
As soon as I saw all those items in my mind, I pretty much thought it was possessed for sales.
Okay, let's start with the baggies. Now, you indicated that, in your opinion, the baggies appeared to be packaged for easy individual sale, right?
Which baggies are you talking about?
The baggies, the 37 baggies that you found in the bowl, which has been previously marked as People's 1.
Yes.
Okay. And on the right, you indicated that, in your opinion, the reason they're baggied is for easy sale, correct?
Correct.
So according to your theory, the people that are out there selling marijuana are going to be carrying a number of these baggies, right?
Correct.
So isn't it possible that a buyer out there may want to buy more than one baggie?
Sure.
2, 3 baggies, maybe even more.
Buy as much as you can afford, I'm sure.
Right. So it's possible that someone who has purchased marijuana could be in possession of 37 individually wrapped baggies because they, in fact, want 37 individually wrapped baggies of marijuana.
Anything is possible, sir.
So it is also possible, right?
Sure.
Okay. As far as the scale goes, you indicated that a person selling marijuana, in your opinion, uses the scale to make sure they're not losing money. Is that right?
To make sure that, yeah, most of their product is about the same.
Isn't it also true that a person who is buying marijuana doesn't want to get ripped off either?
I've never heard of anybody that has bought marijuana for personal use to weigh it. I've never heard of that.
Okay. Although you've never heard of it personally, isn't it true that a person buying anything doesn't want to get ripped off?
Once again, anything is possible.
Is it reasonable in your opinion?
I don't think so.
So in your opinion and your theory doesn't allow for the fact that a person buying marijuana and spending money on it isn't going to be concerned that they are not being ripped off. That's your position?
I said I've never seen it. Anything is possible, but I don't think so.
That's your opinion?
That's my opinion.
As far as the amount goes, you've indicated that it is much more than the normal person would use in 1 or 2 days, correct?
Correct.
So, according to your theory, a person is only going to buy 1 or 2 days worth at a time.
In my experience, that's what I run into every day. Yes.
So, according to your theory, a person who may have a daily marijuana habit is going to have to go back out there on the streets and risk arrest every 1 or 2 days.
That is usually what they do.
And your opinion, nothing else is possible?
I'm saying anything is possible. What I run into every single day, same people are out there buying marijuana on almost a daily basis.
If you were to hear of a person who bought a large quantity of marijuana as to not risk having to go back there out on the streets every day, that would not fit into your theory, right?
That I've never heard of it.
My question, sir, is would that fit into your theory, yes or no?
Yes or no?
You understand the question, right?
Can you rephrase it or tell me again?
Okay.
Maybe I'm not understanding what you're telling me.
You've testified regarding a theory which you are using to support the fact that this marijuana is possessed for sale.
I never said it was a theory. It was my opinion based on my experience.
It is your opinion based on what you saw that this particular marijuana was possessed for sale, correct?
Correct.
Okay. If you were to hear of a person and then we have your 140s. Your 140 continues. Number 1, you have, from what we just read, you have Mr. Wins, Mr. Borland, and backpedaled is hyphenated. And so this is going to be your test 140 number 1 for 5 minutes, and it starts in the middle. Continues from the last. My question wasn't unusual.
Well, what you're telling me, if somebody told me that, to me, that would be unusual.
So unusual meaning not possible.
I didn't say not possible, just very unusual. And like I said, I've never run into it.
In your experience.
In my experience.
Your personal experience. And I believe you've already conceded, of course, the scale has legitimate purposes, correct?
Sure.
And you also indicated that in your opinion, when speaking of how much marijuana you could fit into a single cigarette, you indicated a certain amount. And that was based on your own personal experience, correct?
Correct.
Obviously, with what a person does with his marijuana and how much he wants to put in his cigarette is up to him, right?
Correct.
So you are giving an average?
I'm giving an average and based on the experience of what I see every day in the street.
Based on your experience?
Correct.
You indicated that the presence of the gun was yet another factor which led you to your opinion that the items found were possessed for sale, correct?
Yes.
Because a person who is selling drugs out there on the street has to protect themselves and their products. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Now, the person going out to buy drugs, they need protection too, right?
From?
Well, they have money, don't they?
Sure. And if they are going to go buy it, they would have money.
Would a person be afraid of perhaps getting ripped off?
It's possible.
So possession of a weapon is also consistent with a person who is not selling, right?
I have never heard, nobody has ever told me that they had a gun because they were going to go buy a nickel baggie of marijuana, and that is why they needed a gun.
Beyond the breadth of your personal experience, officer, is it also consistent to think about it now?
Anything is possible. However, I've never come across it.
I understand, and I believe you mentioned earlier on direct that, well, you were asked about foot traffic in the area, correct?
Yes.
I believe the prosecutor asked you if that also plays some kind of role in your opinion in this case.
That came from, I didn't see the traffic myself. Mr. Borland was the one that told me that, but that would play into my opinion also slightly.
And you went to Mr. Wynn's location to arrest him for criminal threats, right?
Right.
Based on what you were told by Mr. Borland.
Correct.
And I believe you mentioned that when you did make the arrest, you made it without incident, right?
Other than him backing up and trying to run back in his house for the most part.
Oh, now he's running? I'm sorry. You are indicating
He backpedaled. He backpedaled.
Did you write the report in this case, sir?
Yes.
You had a chance to review it this morning, didn't you?
I looked at it briefly.
You have it in front of you. You've referred to it while you've been testifying, right?
I haven't looked at it since I've been testifying.
Now, in it, I'm assuming that you included a complete, fair, and accurate description of the arrest in this case, correct?
Yes.
Did you write in your report that he ran back into the residence?
No.
No?
I don't know exactly what I wrote.
Okay. If you could review your report, please.
Sure.
If that would refresh your recollection as to what you did write, and just for the record specifically, if you could refer to page 7 in the middle of the page.
I wrote, suspect lifted his hands in the air, took about 3 steps backwards into his residence.
So he didn't run, did he?
He backpedaled quickly.
Well, you testified earlier that he ran. That's not correct?
Okay.
Is that a yes?
I'm reading what I wrote, and I wrote,
the question is, sir, you've just testified 2 seconds ago that my client ran back into his residence. Let's all be clear. He didn't run back into his residence, right?
Right.
Then where did he? Okay, and so you have your 140 number 2 Q&A. Gulf City, Carlson, Johnson, Johnson Chevrolet, Marks Dodge, Wilson, Gulf City Ford, Lakeside Shopping Center, and Bennett. And this is going to be your 140 Q&A number 2 for 5 minutes, and it does start in the middle, you all. Let's resume from where we left off. I think we were talking about this the other day. It's a state statute that they cannot be open on Sundays. Is that correct?
Correct.
Gulf City. About the same thing. 8 to 10 hours a day.
I'd say approximately 10 or 12.
Again, 6 days a week?
Yes.
What about Carlson?
Carlson is approximately 10 to 12.
What about Johnson?
8 to 12.
Have you worked anywhere since Johnson Chevrolet?
No.
Are you looking for employment right now?
I have checked on it recently, yes.
What kind of work are you looking for?
I'm still looking in the car business for now.
Well, why don't we begin back with Marks Dodge? Aside from missing time to go to doctor's appointments, were there times at Marks Dodge that you did not feel capable of working?
Correct.
Can you give me, I don't know if you can give me days of the week or how many hours in the day, that sort of thing, of how the discomfort would affect you.
Periodically, the discomfort would slow me down, cloud my thinking.
At the time you were at Marks Dodge, were you taking any prescription medication?
Sometimes.
Do you remember what that might have been?
No.
Did you have the same effects on your performance, or did your pain have the same effects on your performance at Wilson?
The pain, did it affect me the same way?
Yes.
Basically, yes.
Did you miss time at Wilson to go to appointments and things like that?
I believe I did.
Gulf City Ford, did any supervisor ever say anything to you about missing time to go to appointments?
Not that I recall.
Did you miss time when you were at Gulf City Ford?
Some. See, this business is mostly arranged on a performance basis, you know. If you sell a car, that might be a proper time to ask to leave to go to the physician. You know what I'm saying?
So the more success you had, the easier it was to get time off.
Yes.
Why don't we move off from the car dealership area now? Besides this car accident in September of 1994, prior to this automobile accident, did you ever have any other car accidents?
Yes. I have had another automobile accident. I don't recall what year, maybe 90 or so.
Do you remember where it was?
That was in Lakeside Shopping Center. That was when I worked for Bennett.
You were working for Bennett at the time?
Right.
Were you actually at work when the accident occurred?
Yes.
Were you hurt in that accident?
No. I walked away from it, thankfully.
Besides the accident in 1990, have you ever been involved in any other accidents, whether as a driver or a passenger?
When I was a small child, but other than that, no.
Do you remember any as a small child when you were with your parents or with your grandmother?
It was with my parents.
Just one other accident when you were a child?
Yes.
Were you hurt in that accident?
No.
Liability is clear in this, so we don't want to waste too much time. Why don't you tell me a brief description of what happened to you inside the truck during this accident?
Okay. The car in front of me turned left, and I started to go. I had my vehicle in first gear. I think my foot was on the clutch. I didn't see the vehicle in my rear view mirror, and I didn't hear it. It just hit me all at once, and my head hit the back glass, and then I rolled forward several yards before I realized where I was located, It didn't realize what had hit me right at first.
At the time of the impact, how fast do you think you would have been traveling?
0 to 5. I was just starting to accelerate.
So it is possible that you were stopped, or you're sure that you were at least inching forward?
I know my foot wasn't on the brake. I remember that much.
You didn't have any kind of headrest? Okay, that concludes your test. Type them up, see how you're doing. Have a great day, and remember, we're at the 7th week already. Have a great day, you all.